Does this mean I'm racist? Marvel's Ironheart reactions are in, but you're racist if you don't like it. Wait, what? You're racist if you don't like Ironheart? Is that true? She was introduced in the comics in 2016, so the character was essentially developed for woke content, yawn?
The moment South Park unleashed their ironed out episode targeting Dominique Thorne's Ironheart, the trajectory of her Marvel career imploded overnight in ways no publicist could salvage. That merciless parody featuring Ricky Wires, a cringe-inducing stand-in for Riri Williams, didn't just mock the character's clunky suit and overconfident demeanor, it surgically dismantled Thorne's entire real-world media persona during the ill-fated press tour, amplifying every awkward interview moment and defensive soundbite into a cultural punchline. When Ricky's suit malfunctioned by blasting K-pop during a bank robbery, or when the roast sequence declared, "At least Iron Man had personality," the jokes landed with brutal precision because they mirrored actual criticisms of the show's writing and Thorne's performance.
Ironheart is practically unwatchable. Toot toot, Jerry laughs. Yes, there is an alphabet character. They admit Ironheart sucks, but look, they're getting ready to blame you for it because Ironheart fulfills low expectations with weak narrative, poorly written characters, and dull.
Worse yet, the timing was catastrophic, arriving just as Nielsen data confirmed Ironheart's disastrous debut viewership numbers couldn't even match Daredevil's 2016 streaming records, despite triple the runtime availability. The parody went viral not because South Park was uniquely cruel, but because it gave form to the audience's growing frustration with Marvel's Phase 5 missteps, crystallizing years of complaints about forced legacy replacements and identity-first storytelling into 22 minutes of devastating satire that Dominique Thorne would fatally mishandle in the coming days. Marvel Studios bet everything on Ironheart being their Phase 5 savior, pouring over $200 million into production and marketing while positioning Dominique Thorne as the MCU's new cornerstone. But the project was doomed from conception by willfully ignoring every warning sign from comics history and audience sentiment.
Everybody loves Iron Man. Everybody. Shitting on and belittling a character that everybody loves in your new movie.
It's a TV show.
Nobody cares. Shitting and belittling a character that everybody loves is probably not going to score you a lot of points with your audience.
86% on Rotten Tomatoes.
How?
Executives aggressively pushed Thorne as the next Tony Stark through relentless talk show appearances and scripted camaraderie with Robert Downey Jr., despite Riri Williams' comic book run being one of Marvel's most polarizing introductions. Sales plummeted 72% between her first and fifth issues as readers rejected the character's rushed implementation and perceived agenda-driven narrative. This strategic blindness culminated in catastrophic Nielsen ratings upon release. While Netflix's Daredevil secured 300 million viewing minutes in its first 3 days back in 2016, Ironheart, with more episodes and Disney's massive subscriber base, couldn't even clear 200 million, a humiliation made worse by Marvel's prior boasts about redefining superhero storytelling.
The first trailer for Ironheart has received 50% more dislikes than likes on YouTube. Okay, I get that not everyone asks for this show, but some of the hate feels way over the top. Some people are calling it woke, some are just tired of new characters taking over.
Critics universally panned the show's identity crisis, noting how it vacillated between grim trauma drama and awkward teen comedy without committing to either vision, while audiences mocked Thorne's portrayal as either wildly overacted or completely lacking in the charisma needed to anchor a franchise. Social media quickly flooded with memes of Riri as discount Iron Man and clips of cringeworthy dialogue, transforming what was meant to be a triumphant torch passing into Marvel's most expensive public failure since Inhumans. Dominique Thorne's catastrophic response to the South Park parody transformed a career setback into a full-blown industry reputation crisis.
It feels like a continuation of the work that I saw my castmates continuing in Wakanda Forever to honor their brother who wasn't here anymore. It feels like an opportunity to just keep pushing it forward so that also when we do step into these roles, we can enjoy it, you know?
Beginning with that now infamous podcast appearance where the host's innocent question about the episode triggered a defensive spiral that would define her public image for years. When asked, "Have you seen the South Park episode about Ironheart?" Thorne's tense smile and brittle laugh preceded the career-altering soundbite. "I don't really watch cartoons that tear down people doing important work." A dismissive line that might have faded had she stopped there, but she escalated by adding, "It's easy to make fun of someone when you're hiding behind a cartoon character. I'd like to see those guys do what I do," framing valid criticism as jealousy-fueled attacks. Within hours, the clip spread across TikTok and Twitter, with mocking captions like, "Ironheart versus free speech," prompting Thorne to double down with a since-deleted tweet thread accusing South Park of lazy humor and implying backlash stemmed from fans who never wanted diversity in the MCU.
Natalie AI thing seems utterly preposterous and ridiculous, and even for an MCU show, I'm finding it to be a little bit of a bridge too far to go. The heist crew, all lame. Every single one of them, all lame.
A disastrous conflation of creative critique with bigotry that even her supporters couldn't defend. Entertainment news channels like TMZ and The Wrap amplified the meltdown, splicing her podcast clip with Ricky Wire's scenes to highlight the uncomfortable parallels between fiction and reality, while late-night hosts like Jimmy Kimmel incorporated her quotes into monologue jokes. The silence from Marvel PR was deafening. No co-stars publicly defended her, no executives issued statements, and industry insiders revealed to Deadline that Thorne had been advised to apologize but refused, a stubbornness that cemented perceptions of her as thin-skinned, combative, and dangerously out of touch with the audience Marvel desperately needed to win back.
Ironheart really didn't make any sense to me until the final moment in the final sequence, which made it very clear we weren't watching an origin story, we weren't watching a redemptive arc, but we were watching the tragedy of Riri Williams.
The core reason Ironheart failed where other MCU projects succeeded lies in Marvel's fundamental betrayal of the character's comic origins, stripping Riri Williams of her compelling trauma-driven motivations and replacing them with shallow, politically convenient archetypes that alienated both casual viewers and dedicated comics fans. Original comic Riri was a complex, grieving teenager who channeled the violent death of her stepfather and best friend into engineering brilliance, building her suit as psychological armor against a world that took everything from her. A nuanced portrait of genius born from pain that the show replaced with a one-dimensional, quirky STEM girl caricature devoid of authentic struggle.
So with this, I'm not sure what they're meant to be, because this character isn't to be confused with Slog.
Slug, our hacker extraordinaire.
Who is also the exact opposite in the same show. I'm really confused.
Even Tony Stark's legacy was gutted. His comic AI served as a harsh mentor, forcing Riri to confront her emotional wounds, while the show reduced him to a joke-spouting hologram offering quippy advice like a high-tech Siri. This tonal whiplash, shifting from scenes of gang violence to Riri dancing in her lab to K-pop within minutes, exposed Marvel's prioritization of messaging over coherent storytelling, with critics noting how the script undermined its own themes. Riri preached about systemic injustice while attending MIT on Stark's dime, lectured seasoned engineers despite being a teenager, and faced zero consequences for reckless actions that would have gotten others killed. Audiences instantly spotted the dissonance. YouTube deep dives comparing comic panels to show scenes gained millions of views, with comment sections flooded by fans asking, "Why remove her trauma?" and "When did Tony become a clown?" Questions Marvel never answered because the creative team seemed more invested in manufacturing a symbol than servicing a character. Want the unfiltered truth on what happens next? Hit subscribe and tap like right now. You won't miss the real story when Hollywood decides who survives this nuclear fallout. Concrete evidence now confirms Ironheart Season 2 is effectively dead despite Disney's vague corporate non-denials, with Marvel's scheduling shifts, budget reallocations, and strategic leaks revealing how profoundly Thorne's meltdown damaged the character's future. Key indicators include the indefinite delay of Armor Wars, the film designed to launch Riri as a flagship hero, from its planned 2025 release to 2027 or later, a move insiders attribute to Marvel needing to retool the character's integration, after test screenings showed audiences rejecting Thorne's portrayal. More damningly, leaked Avengers 5 casting sheets examined by Variety show zero mention of Riri Williams among the 38 confirmed roles, despite Kevin Feige previously stating she'd be central to the next saga.
Impacts that she's having on young Black girls, and I'm going to be completely honest, on Black women.
You know, this is yet another area that's getting vibrant. It's getting full.
Production sources reveal Marvel has quietly scrubbed Ironheart references from Thunderbolt's reshoots, with Don Cheadle's War Machine now carrying tech subplots originally meant for Riri. The financial death knell came when Disney's Q2 earnings report reclassified Ironheart's $147 million budget under brand rehabilitation costs, accounting jargon for projects too toxic to continue. Most telling, Thorne's absence from SDCC 2024, where Marvel showcased every Phase 6 star except her, while concept artist portfolios now feature deleted Riri Williams scenes replaced by White Vision and Moon Knight team-ups. When directly asked about Season 2, Feige offered only, "We're exploring all narrative avenues," but Hollywood agents confirmed Thorne's team is already pursuing indie dramas, a clear pivot after Marvel halted her $2 million bonus for franchise continuity. The South Park fallout branded Dominique Thorne with 3 career-poisoning labels in Hollywood circles: difficult, defensive, and unpredictable, a trifecta that's triggered concrete professional consequences far beyond Marvel's orbit as casting directors and producers distance themselves from the perceived liability. Within weeks of her podcast meltdown, Thorne was quietly dropped from a 24's indie film, Chroma, despite having verbally accepted the lead role, with the director telling agents they needed less combustible energy on set. Similarly, her planned collaboration with Barry Jenkins on a historical drama stalled indefinitely when financiers requested contingency clauses for reputational risk. Trade reports confirmed at least 3 commercial endorsements, paused negotiations over concerns her confrontational persona didn't align with brand safety, while her own agency, WME, reassigned her to a junior agent specializing in rebuilding campaigns, industry code for damaged goods. The most revealing moment came when Oscar winner Mahershala Ali publicly joked at an SAG mixer, "If South Park roasted me, I'd frame the damn thing on set," a comment interpreted as veteran actors warning against taking satire too seriously. Even Thorne's indie film connections evaporated. Sundance Lab removed her scheduled directing fellowship, citing scheduling conflicts that insiders revealed meant protecting other participants from media scrutiny.
And it's like the real Tony Stark, it's like back somehow, and there's like a moment where she's flying through and he's like, "Who's that?" And she's like, "I'm Ironheart, Mr. Stark." And he's like, "I like that girl." And then he like goes to do something else. Like that would be like the level of something that I think would possibly happen.
The message is clear. In an industry where studios can swap actors overnight, her response transformed critique into career jeopardy, proving that in Hollywood, perception isn't just part of the job, it is the job when viral infamy overshadows talent. Ironheart's collapse accelerated Marvel's broader Phase 5 crisis, from a creative slump into a full-blown franchise emergency, exposing systemic issues like bloated budgets, focus group-driven storytelling, and a toxic disconnect between studio mandates and audience desires that South Park's parody exploited with surgical precision. The data paints a grim picture. Rotten Tomatoes averages for Phase 5 projects plummeted to 47%, down from Phase 3's 84%, while box office receipts for the Marvels, $206 million global, and Ant-Man 3, $476 million, fell hundreds of millions below projections. Internal Disney memos leaked by Vulture show executives panicking over brand erosion metrics, particularly the #FireKevFeige movement, that trended globally after Quantumania's failure, with audience exit polls citing superhero fatigue as shorthand for frustration with preachy messaging and poorly developed new heroes. Ironheart became the perfect symbol of this implosion because it doubled down on every failing strategy, prioritizing legacy replacement over organic character development, spending $25 million per episode on CGI while neglecting script quality, and marketing Thorne as an inspirational figure rather than letting performance speak for itself. South Park merely articulated what fans felt, that Marvel valued agendas over artistry. And when Thorne's meltdown confirmed the studio couldn't handle criticism, it validated audience alienation. The result? Disney Plus subscriptions dropped for the first time in Q1 2024. Marvel Comics sales dipped 30% year over year as the brand halo faded, and Sony aggressively fast-tracked non-MCU Spider-Man spin-offs to capitalize on the weakness. Phase 5 didn't just stumble, it became a cautionary tale about corporate arrogance.
Where does Ironheart fit in?
First thing that I can say is in Wakanda Forever, we meet her in the midst of her MIT career, which isn't the most traditional. And when we meet Riri Williams, she is hustling these students a little extra cash on the side so that she can focus on what she's actually interested in.
Salvaging Ironheart requires Marvel to abandon top-down agenda pushing and implement 3 concrete solutions demanded by fans: restoring Riri's comic-accurate trauma psychology, enforcing real consequences for tech failures, and integrating legacy mentors who challenge rather than coddle her. Fixes that address core writing failures while respecting audience intelligence. First, adapt the Invincible Iron Man comic arc, where Riri builds her suit during a mental breakdown after witnessing her stepfather's murder, making engineering a survival mechanism instead of a STEM empowerment fantasy. This creates immediate empathy missing from the show's genius because script says so approach. Second, eliminate Deus Ex Machina bailouts. When her suit malfunctions, as South Park mocked, it should cause collateral damage or civilian casualties that force genuine growth, not just quippy reboot sequences. Third, deploy Don Cheadle's War Machine as her military-hardened mentor, a dynamic mind from comics where Rhodey forces Riri to confront her privilege and recklessness through brutal honesty, not Tony Stark's paternal ghost. These aren't fanboy fantasies, they're narrative necessities proven by Marvel's own past successes. Tony Stark's alcoholism arc, Thor's humility journey, and Black Widow's redemptive guilt all followed similar flaw, consequence, growth templates that made characters beloved. Implementing this wouldn't just rescue Riri, it would signal Marvel finally prioritizes storytelling over sermonizing, a crucial step to win back trust after Phase 5's patronizing failures. Dominique Thorne's real tragedy isn't that Ironheart failed, it's that her reaction to South Park permanently rewrote her career narrative, cementing her as the face of Marvel's agenda over quality era in a way no future performance can fully erase, proving that in digital Hollywood, viral infamy outweighs artistic redemption. Every frame of her podcast meltdown, the tightened smile, the defensive posture, the important work justification, became immortalized in reaction GIFs and TikTok stitches that will resurface whenever she promotes new projects, weaponized by critics to question her professionalism. The deleted tweets accusing detractors of lazy humor now live forever on archive sites, ready to be juxtaposed with future positive reviews as proof she can't handle feedback. Even if she wins an Oscar, media profiles will inevitably reference the South Park incident as a cautionary footnote, much like Taylor Swift's 2009 VMAs moment or Joaquin Phoenix's I'm Still Here mockumentary, cultural tattoos that outlive career evolution. For Marvel, the damage is equally permanent. Ironheart's corpse now fuels every go woke, go broke argument, with South Park's Ricky Wires becoming the definitive parody of their Phase 5 missteps. Ultimately, this saga's lesson isn't about avoiding failure. It's about managing backlash with grace. Thorne's defiance turned creative criticism into career-altering condemnation, a warning to all talent. When satire strikes, sometimes the only winning move is to laugh with them because the internet never forgets and Hollywood never forgives.